A lot of people have this question: how long does it really take to learn a language? If you remember before, earlier I told you that you're not required to study or to practice with a language for a lifetime. It doesn't take a lifetime to learn a language. But how long does it really take to learn a language? Well, let's say that you want to get a high level and you want to have awesome conversations without missing a beat. You want to understand what people are saying without asking them to repeat. So, how long will it take you to reach that level of conversation or fluency? Again, how long does it really take to learn a language? Well, that depends on several factors. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications bell, leave a comment, like and share this video with your friends, and now let's get started. The first factor is gonna be the affinity toward the language, its people, and its related culture. If you really love the culture, if you are enamored by the people, you are going to dive in and fully immerse yourself. The deeper your relationship, the stronger your attraction toward the people and the culture, the easier it will be for you to really go deep in this language. On the other hand, if you hate the culture, if you abhor the people and want nothing to do with them, it may be a difficult task to pick up this language. No, I said it's gonna be difficult, but it's not impossible. Think about it. Would you want to spend more time with something that you can't stand? Would you want to practice talking with people that you don't want to deal with? Probably not, and that will limit your exposure too, and your use of the language. So, it's natural that learning the language in such a situation would be more difficult than it would be if you actually had an affinity or some love toward the language and everything that's connected to it. Another factor is going to be your experience with language learning, your prior experience. If you have learned a language in the past, you might have some transferable knowledge and skills to help you with language learning. And learning more languages in the future, you will carry your techniques with you. And so, you're not confused about how to learn. You may also have some patience, since you know that it took you a certain amount of time to learn a language in the past. You will probably be willing to stick with learning the language for a longer amount of time than someone who has never learned a language before. It's like playing sports. If you have never played any sports before, it might be hard for you to start and continue in the beginning. But if you have played a certain sport to a high level or to an advanced level, you might be able to deal with trying different sports because you know what's required and you have a previous foundation to work from. Another important factor is the distance of the language you're learning from your own language, or from one that you know to a high level. The closer your target language is to a language that you already know, the easier it will be for you to learn. Likewise, the farther away it is, the more different it is, the more time you will need to learn the language. For example, a person who speaks Italian would learn Spanish more quickly than they'd learn Japanese. Similarly, an English speaker could learn Spanish in a short amount of time than they could learn in a Greek. So, let's talk about the estimated times to the proficiency of a foreign language. In the United States of America, they have what's called the FSI, or the Foreign Service Institute. The Foreign Service Institute in the United States created a difficulty scale of language. Now, I have to say, first of all, that the scale is from the perspective of a native speaker of English, or someone who is fluent in English. So, if you are not a native speaker of English, or a person hasn't learned English as a second language, then The difficulty scale in this language may not be the same. One language that might be difficult on that scale may be easy for someone who is close to that language. But in any case, it's coming from the perspective of an English speaker. Now, the FSI created 5 categories of languages based on their difficulty. And the categories, of course, go from the easiest language to learn for an English speaker to what might be the more difficult language to learn for an English speaker. And basically, a language distance determines its difficulty. The farther the distance, the more difficult the language and the longer the amount of time needed. And I should also mention the distance wasn't only in terms of how far the language is removed from English, but the FSI related to how different the culture of the language is. So, the culture is extremely different from the English-speaking culture that played a role in the distance of the language, or how difficult it would be for an English speaker to learn the language. So, we see that there is a connection here between language and culture, and determining how difficult or easy a language is to learn. That's it for now. Next time I'll show you the categories. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until then, see you next time. Au revoir.